for me. Um, so yeah, I will start. So thanks everyone for joining my stream. Hope you've all had a good week, good start to September. Um, I mean, we've not had any trades, obviously. I, the problem is I work, so it's quite hard to do like day trade I mean, this is kind of like right now what we're seeing is basically like a day trader's dream. Because, I mean, we are basically just ranging. I mean, nothing massively interesting has been happening. I mean, this is pretty much, if we literally go back to, where is it? If we go to like this week, which started off like around here. I mean, Bitcoin has really not moved that much, right? Like we were at 108, 109. It went to like 112, dropped down back to 109 again, went to 112-ish, dropped down back to 1010, 109. So, I mean, it's pretty boring. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really, really boring at the moment. Um, the market hasn't really shown its hand to us. I did have a short set up, and then I was like, let's just cancel it. We might get it, if we just like super chop. Because this is all like massively corrected price action, right? It's just overlapping. It's just overlapping price action. So, we might chop, get to that point. This is kind of like an important previous high up here. So we may get up there and then kind of begin that downward move that I was eyeing up. Um, Obviously we have validation points, right? So I mean, the technical invalidation point is roundabout up here, with this previous swing high. But I think if we kind of get over this level here, which when I had my fib levels up, it was like the 786 or something. 886 it was basically like last resort area. Then this short is basically going to be invalidated. But I mean, there's really not much to do here. You don't really want to risk taking a long. You don't really want to risk taking a short. You're kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? So I mean, the way I see it is that we're just kind of in a no trade zone at the moment. Unless you're literally scalping like on the 15-minute chart, um, which as I said, I haven't got time for because you basically have to watch the chart pretty frequently for that. Then, yeah, I mean, this is just no trade zone at the moment, right? I mean, I personally still think that we're looking kind of like an A, B, C to the downside. So I still think we might get around this area here, like the 100K, 102K area, before we might obviously then start to see um, that upward move towards like the 130, 150K region, right? And that's what I've been talking about. I think, we're still technically on track to get to that 130, 150K cycle top region. I mean, that is kind of my region for cycle top. If we push higher, then that would be great. But I think at the bare minimum, we are basically looking between that region. Um, but the correction just doesn't look like it's over yet. There's not a lot of strength that I'm seeing from Bitcoin at the moment. We're getting quite heavy rejections. I mean, if we look at this, like this is on the 4 hour, right? So if we kind of just zoom in a little bit here, this is all basically choppy, right? There is nothing impulsive about this. It's just chop, correction, chop, correction, chop, correction, chop, correction. I mean, it's not entertaining. Um, it's not impulsive. It's just, I mean, like we had this move up, we came back down and tested the 76. I mean, nothing impulsive about this, nothing thrilling about it, and it's really just boring, to be honest. I mean, there's nothing really much more to say on it. It is really truly boring price action. And unless we see certain levels break, like the previous one I mentioned, we've got our our short setup that is basically here. Um, if we get to this previous high here, then that's a good opportunity to short, right? But as I said, we're not really in like a good zone at the moment to do anything. Um, this is very messy, right? It's very hard to kind of count the waves on this. This is literally just, for me, I look at this and I just see it as a very messy chart at the moment. Obviously the market is relatively indecisive of what it wants to do. And we've just not had any clear direction, right? So I think for now there's not too much more to say on it. I mean, we need to obviously just keep an eye on what happens during the weekend. But how it is at the moment, we're literally just ranging between 109 and 112, and that's pretty much it, right? We haven't really had anything massively exciting at the moment. Some people are trying to argue that maybe you can see this as an inverse head and shoulders. So, this is your shoulder here, this is your head, this is your other shoulder, and then we might maybe, get to this previous high here. And then obviously that's where the short would happen. But I mean, maybe, sure. I mean, if you want a long from here, I'm not saying you should, but if you want a long, to get this previous high, sure. But again, there's not really any guarantees that that can happen, right? I mean, I see this whole area that we were in as resistance. I mean, if we take a fib from here to here, and let's change this up. Let's put the 50%, 382. So we want to see, yeah, I mean, basically pretty much almost hit that 382 fib level. So, this is kind of like resistance zone to me. I think, where our entry is around about the 618 level. So, yeah, I mean, we could get another push up maybe to this area here, like 115 to 117. But I mean, beyond that, I don't really see anything like past that point. Ethereum has actually kind of been a little bit more interesting. Not in a good way, but if you look at it on the 4 hour, right? So we kind of have this area here, like this $4,275 region that we've been trying to hold. So if we look at this, then you can see this is kind of like the 382 region here. We got the 50% fib level down here, which is at 4,154. So you can argue that this might be the next zone that we fall into. The major zone is going to be the 618, the golden pocket area, which is at $3,970, right? So if we get a break below the region that we're currently at, I don't know. I'm not confident that 50% level is going to hold at 4,100. I think we might kind of tap it, have a little bit of a bounce, but I think we are looking at around the $4,000 region for Ethereum. I think that's like where we would go at the very least. There's nothing bearish about it, but it's just that, like if we look at this previous rally here, this was like a really nice impulsive rally, right? And then we had like a three-wave move down, and then we had a rally up here, but this just looks like very, very extended if it is a fourth wave pullback for a push up higher. So I'm not quite seeing it like that, to be honest. I'm not seeing it like that, but this is a lot of sideways consolidation. And I think it is going to be something more like a WXY structure where we do kind of hit this region down here. I'm not seeing a lot of strength in Ethereum either at the moment. Probably less so than Bitcoin. I mean, you can see we had like a move to the upside, but then we had this massive engulfing red candle, right? And now if we look at this daily candle looks pretty shit at the moment. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty bad. Like we have this massive wick to the upside, yeah, that's not good, right? Usually in this kind of scenario, it denotes that you're basically going to go lower. Always, but um, it's just not looking good at the moment for Ethereum, to be honest. I think we will drop to this level here. I'd be very surprised if, maybe in the next like week we don't kind of take out, this fair value gap here that we've got around that $4,000 region. Like we might tap 3,940, 3,950, and then get a big bounce. I mean, that is pretty likely to happen. But we just need to see more price action because, again, as I said, this it just I wouldn't want to trade this because this is just literally like ranging. Like we're literally ranging within like a couple of $100, just ranging. Um, and there really is like nothing interesting for me to do at this point. Um, if we look at USDT dominance, so um, so I think I mentioned a couple of streams ago that we might get a bounce here. It was a couple of weeks ago. We might get a bounce here at the golden pocket 618 region, and we did. Okay, so this was kind of a zone to watch. The next zone was obviously this 786 region here. I do think that if we get a push past this 4.55, 4.6% region, then I think that we might push to retest that trend line. I think that's relatively likely, to be honest. You can see there's some complements up here as well. You've got some volume up here, you've got previous swing high up here, and then you've got obviously the trend line here as well. So, I mean, I think we got to see what happens in the next week or so. I think it is going to be about a week or two max before the market really truly shows its hand. I think we might just get some consolidation, some sideways consolidation for the weekend, or we might start to just actually see it show its hand. But this is looking like we might try to retest this again and possibly break through. And obviously, if we do break through, then yeah, like this kind of 5% region up here is going to be the next area that USDT dominance is going to want to test. And I mean, there's only so many indicators you can use on this because it's not actually like an asset per se. It's just like a dominance chart. But yeah, I think it is fairly likely that we'll either get a push up to the trend line and then a rejection, or we reject against this trend line again and then retest that 786 region there, which would be bullish for altcoins and Bitcoin. But it's really hard to say right now. I think we need to watch this region. I think if we do get something like this, that's kind of like your line, right? So if we do get a breakout to the upside and then a retest, we might get a push up, and that will obviously send altcoins and Bitcoin down quite heavily. So yeah, I think we will see what will happen in the next week or so. Bitcoin dominance has been, let's have a look at it. I think it's been bobbling about a little bit, but it has broken this local trend line that I've been tracking. So if we look at it on the weekly, we can, and I mentioned this quite a few times, we can see that we did break that trend line on the weekly, right? So I mean, it is entirely possible for us to get some kind of like retest at some point. I'm not sure if it will go that high. If we take a fib, we can maybe see what levels that we're looking at. So, yeah, I mean, technically it lines up very nicely with the 50% fib level. If we get a move up there within like a week or so, it's possible. But obviously, if Bitcoin dominance is going up, but Bitcoin breaks to the downside, then obviously alts are going to get completely hammered, right? Like absolutely completely hammered. Um, so this is why we need to obviously keep an eye on these charts, um, keep an eye on the levels. We can take a low from that previous swing low. Let's have a look at our, maybe not 786, let's look at our 618 region. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, it actually dropped below that. Kind of dropped below the golden pocket region. I think it was in between it was in between the 786 and 618. So, yeah, I mean, this is technically an area of support, if you want to call it that, for Bitcoin dominance. And we have broken that local trend line on the smaller time frame, so we might see a push to the upside for Bitcoin dominance, which would mean that obviously altcoins would either stall, or if Bitcoin obviously goes downwards, then it would be quite detrimental for altcoins. Ones that I'm watching in particular, one of them is obviously Link. I'm always keeping an eye on Link. So I always have said that Link has a tendency to show where the market might be going. Link is looking pretty weak. I'm not gonna lie, it's looking pretty weak at the moment. This is kind of like a slow burning correction. I mean, my target for Link was obviously this area here, so this $20 region to $21.50 region for Link. I'm eyeing that up as a place of possible reversal. But obviously, it kind of depends like what happens in the next day or two. We may get a push down and touch this trend line in the next couple of days. If it breaks below that trend line, I think we're going to get a much bigger correction for Link. So obviously this is on like this fib is taken on like the small time frame from this move up here, from this wave 3 push to the upside. But obviously if we do break below that $20 like $20.16 region, then I think we would look at a bigger correction. So I think we would be looking at dropping down to this. You can see there's a lot of confluence up here where this 50% fib level is. Exactly right here at 19.62 cents, dollars, sorry. And we could possibly get like a push to here, and maybe even a push down one more level to the golden pocket region at 17.50 dollars. So, I think we need to just keep an eye. We can't be super bullish at the moment. There's nothing bearish about this. And by the way, if Link drops down to $17, or even if it dropped down to $14.5, there's nothing bearish about this. I do still see this as bullish. I won't see this as bullish anymore if Link breaks $14.56. So if Link goes below $14.56, then there is a good chance that this upside is going to be invalidated, and we're going to break below the $11.3 previous low where we had this rally, and we would be going much lower. We would be going to like $6, $5, something like that. As long as, I mean, we're a long way away from that, right? So as long as we're holding, at the bare minimum, as long as we're holding like, around this kind of $20 region, we can see another push to the upside. If we get a deeper correction, then obviously, like last resort, we should be holding for $14.56. But I think if we get any push into this region here, this is your buy zone for Link. If you haven't obviously got any Link, we've got Link since $10, $11, but obviously if you haven't got a position in Link, then this would be a good time to start thinking about taking a position in it. Sui, Sui is another coin that I've been watching because it's been relatively strong. Um, Again, you know, it looks very choppy at the moment. It still does look very choppy. I mean, this is on a daily. Um, we had that initial zone at around $3. We haven't actually reached it yet, to be honest. We've only got to like $3.11. So I will start to change my view if we get a break above this previous high here. Let me just move this up a little bit. Yeah. So if we get a break above $3.53, then I will start to change my idea that we will get a drop down to this region here. So if we get a break above here, I'd like to see a retest of that $3.53 area, and then yes, obviously we would have a slightly higher entry than what we have at the moment down here, current market price. But it's risky, right? It's risky taking a long trade here because you're basically you're in the middle of nowhere. You're in limbo. You don't really know, are we gonna break down again? Are we gonna get to this region? Or are we gonna break up again? Right? Like you just don't know. This is not a place that you would take a trade. If we get a break over $3.53, yeah, sure, take a long, 100%, and I'd be taking a long. If we get a break below this previous low here at around $3.23, then yeah, there is a very high likelihood that we will be visiting $3 or even sub $3. So these are definitely the zones to be watching. 100%. Like break above $3.53, we will go long. Obviously, if we get some candle closes above that, and then obviously on the retest we can go long. Or obviously if we see a break below that $3.21 region, then obviously we will be watching for our limit orders on Sui to fill at that sub $3. Initially we got $3.07, I think it is, but the rest of the sub $3 region. Another one that I was looking at, and obviously that I've got limit orders open, is H bar. So H bar was kind of in this. I mean, yeah, this is basically like a triangle, like a descending triangle, as we would call it. And it was kind of hammering against this support until it eventually broke. Um, Very badly drawn support. So yeah, I mean, you can see that we basically had like a retest, failed, failed, failed. So we've had some rejections, quite a few rejections from this region here, to be honest. Um, and that tells me that, again, with a lot of these charts, they may not be ready to have a push to the upside yet. But again, you can see, I mean, if we, H bar is probably a very good example. For the past week, almost the past week, we have basically just been ranging, 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 overlapping price action. This is literally overlapping price action. Now, if you're a scalper, you'd love this, right? Like you would literally just be like, oh, okay, well, this is basically my range, right? So I'm gonna short here, take profit, and long, take profit and short, take profit, and I mean, you've got your mid range here, um, and you could basically play this very, very well if you were scalping. But you know, for me, it's quite difficult because I don't have a lot of time. But yeah, this is basically what a scalper would literally be doing. And at the moment, they would be, they would have taken a long here, taken profit, maybe have taken another short again because I mean, yeah, we've basically got this whole region here, and taken a short again and looking to possibly take profit again at the $21 region. Now, obviously, if we do get back down here, a lot of people might try and take a long, but if we break below this level, that would be invalidation in my opinion, right? So I think if we break below this level, then yeah, there's going to be a good chance that we're gonna drop down. At the very least, we're going to drop down to round about here. So it might do a sweep of stops below this level, and then we might get a bounce. But yeah, I mean, all of this region here is kind of is where we've got some volume as well. Okay. But I think if we do break below this level, I think we do see maybe some consolidation in this region first. I mean, we've got our limit order here. And obviously, if we break below this region, then it's quite a way to fall. To be honest, it's quite a way to fall, all the way down here. But you know, this is pretty much where we've got our entry, and you know, and then we've got our DCAs down here. Obviously, if worst case scenario happens, yeah, because you know, there's quite a gap all the way down to this level here. So we'll keep an eye out as usual with all the other charts. I mean, again, not too much more to say. You know, I mean, ultimately since February, I mean, H has kind of been in this range. Struggled massively to break out from that 28-cent level, and you know, there is a chance that it can come back down to retest these regions again before it tries to have another push up. So yeah, I mean, I think we just gotta wait. We just gotta watch. And the other one I was gonna speak about. Sorry, as I said, this is probably gonna be a relatively short stream because nothing hugely entertaining at the moment. Was Fetch AI, right? So Fetch AI has been what appeared to be in a triangle. Now I did have this triangle drawn out. Technically, you could give it the benefit of the doubt and just kind of say, okay, well, maybe we're just in a slightly larger, like a wider triangle. So you could still call this technically a triangle. This this doesn't become a triangle anymore though. If we break below this like 55, 54, what is it? Yeah, it's about 55, I think. 55-cent level, right? So if we break below this 55-cent level, this no longer becomes a triangle. Like we wouldn't be in a triangle. Like we wouldn't have this like A, B, C, D, E breakout or breakdown. I mean, we wouldn't have that as a triangle anymore, right? Because triangles, you don't break below the previous swing low, and with a triangle, you don't break above the previous swing high, right? That's just pretty much how it works. If we do break below that level, it's no longer a triangle, and it's going to literally look more like a WXY structure. Obviously, we have an entry here, but I do see it possibly going down to this region here. So it would be like this 45 cent region here. 50 cent will be a psychological support, but I think we might get a slight dip below that to the 44 cent region. So that is obviously if we don't hold this previous swing low here at 55 cents. Again, it's really hard to say at this point. Price action is very corrective and it's very overlapping. Again, really nothing entertaining at the moment. It's really just a waiting game. And you can see if we take a fib from the low to the high, you can see that we're basically just trying to hold this this 618 is pretty much what we were trying to hold. This is the golden pocket region, right? So we tested it here, we fell through, came above it, almost tested it again, almost tested it again. Now there's only obviously so many times you're going to be testing this region before we might break down. And obviously if we break down on the higher level, the next logical place is the 786, right? And the 786, as I said, is basically all the way down here. It's like almost at the 50 cent level, just below it. Okay, so um, that's what we basically need to look out for. Um, I think it's been a relatively slow week. I think it's been a relatively slow day. Um, and this is just, I mean, you could just see it's just super boring, super shit, super choppy. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like corrective, 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 and then corrective, and we might get a bit of correction, and then down again. And then, I mean, it's just, it's like, this is the kind of stuff that, just super, super bores me. I'm not gonna lie, I find it super boring. There's nothing interesting about this at all. And the problem is, wave four corrections, which is what I kind of see this as, can just take ages and just drag out and just literally like just take a very long time. I mean, if you look at Fetch AI, right, we were at the $1 region in like May. What's that? June, July, August, September. Yeah, so like 4 months, right? We've just kind of been in this very, very depressingly boring correction. Um, and at some point, I would want to see like a five-wave move up. I don't consider, if you look at this, I don't really consider this as a five-wave move. This is still like a three-wave move in my opinion. This is kind of like a three-wave move. Um, on the smaller time scales, you might argue, okay, well we might have a five-wave move. Like this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we might have a five-wave move, but that didn't really look like a five-wave move. I mean, you could make it as a five-wave move, but it hasn't got the right proportions, in my opinion. This just looks like a 1, 2, and then a 3, where you've got basically the third wave in an ABC with an extension of the third wave. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Um, and that's probably the case because we've basically broken below where that rally started anyway. So this is no longer really a valid setup, basically. And we do look like we're trying to attack that 23rd of June low. I think we may try to attack it again, and I don't know if it'll hold. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like we just need to keep an eye out. I mean, there's many others that look very very similar. They all look very very similar at the moment. Like if we look at Doge, which I haven't looked at in a while, it was kind of in this consolidation, this sideways consolidation, but it was kind of like a triangle. Um, you know, Again, hard to really say what this is. Again, it's very, very messy. I mean, may get a push up, but we're gonna start to get squeezed. We're gonna start to get squeezed in like the next week. So within the next 7 days, we're definitely gonna get squeezed, and yeah, I think we'll find out at that point. Are we gonna push higher, or are we gonna go and retest these levels that even on Doge I've highlighted? So we've got 17 cents, like 17.5 cents. This is a level where we may come to retest. This could literally be a WXY structure. We get this region here and we retest it before then we obviously go higher and go to like 50 cents or something. But again, we just need to wait and see. The market hasn't told us what it wants to do. And really, I mean, with Doge, for instance, we'll only really get full confirmation that things are starting to look a little bit more bullish if we get above certain levels. So, for instance, that previous important swing higher around 24 cents, that will be important if we get to that point, and if we push past that point, that will be an important point to watch, and it may be an indicator that we would be going up. So yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone's got any questions. Let me check the chat because I haven't looked at all at what anyone's saying. Sorry. My computer's so shy. If I switch to chat, it would probably just break if I try doing it at the same time. Um. Uh. Oh no, Sharky, you were on time. Don't worry about it. Hey, Night Ranger. He's gone off. Probably got bored of me. Don't blame him. Um, uh, thinking. So, Believer saying thinking to invest 1,000 in ETH every month. Um, I mean, if you invest in ETH, if it gets to $4,000, then sure. I mean, that's kind of a good shout if you wanted to if you wanted to invest in it at that point. I mean, I wouldn't say you're too late. I mean, you know, we were all obviously watching ETH when it was like $1,300 down here in like I don't know what was it, April or something. Can't remember. It was quite a while ago. It was like down here, right? We had this level here. Um, so I would say, you could buy Ethereum here. We might get a little bit lower to like the $4,000 region here. If you do buy Ethereum around $4,000, then and we hold that level, there's a good chance that we're gonna go to like 5,500, possibly to 6,000, $7,000, right? So you'd be relatively close to a 2x at that point. So it's not a terrible idea. If you're looking to invest in ETH obviously every month, then I mean 1 month Ethereum could be like at $8,000, and would it be a good time to invest? Probably not, because it would be at all-time highs. So, the classic rule is always to buy low and sell high, right? Um, so, in the absolute worst case scenario, if we didn't hold $4,000 and we just got like a much, much larger correction, um, and I'm talking much larger, I'm talking like what am I saying? I'm talking like we get to like say we get to this golden pocket region here of like $2,800, right? That would be a really good time, in my opinion, to buy ETH, because it's basically almost lost like almost half its value, not half its value, but almost half its value. It's quite a lot if it dropped from that level. If it dropped even from here, right? If it dropped from here to that 2,800 region, you're talking like a 34%, 35% drop. So. Um, Yeah, it just also depends how long you want to hold ETH. If you want to hold it for a long time, technically buying ETH whenever is not a bad thing, because I think Ethereum, like Bitcoin, is going to be around for a pretty long time. As well as Solana. Solana is another favorite as well. Um, and I think Solana has actually been probably one of the strongest. If we go back to the charts and we have a look at Solana, it's held up very, very well compared to a lot of other coins. Um, However, I did a little while ago, I did draw this rising wedge pattern, and I do see this as a rising wedge. And there's a chance that we drop back down to like 187, um, maybe break out of that wedge. But if we break out of that wedge, we could go quite low. We can go to like $140, so we can drop quite a lot. Um, but again, this is something to just to keep an eye on, because um, it is a rising wedge that we could possibly fall out of to the downside. Um, so yeah, we need to obviously just be careful. There was a support region here, I think back in like June or July, that I was like, yeah, this is a good place to buy Solana. It was an absolutely perfect place to buy Solana at $132, because it basically went up like 1.5x or something like that. Um, but yeah, again, very good investments. It, it is difficult to kind of say when you should invest, right? Because I was watching Solana um a few years back when it was $9. So buying Solana now just feels completely bananas. Even though there is a good chance for the bull market top for Solana to get to $400-500, right? And you get like a 2x. But I think the best time to truly invest long term is in a bear market. And I think if or when we get to the bear market, Obviously, a lot of people at that point are just not wanting to buy. They're terrified to buy. They're like, oh my God, I'm just literally gonna like lose all my money, right? Like Link, for instance, Link was like $50 peak last cycle, and then it went all the way down to $5. That's like a 10x all the way down, right? If you had like 100 grand, people had like 10 grand left, they'd be crying their eyes out, right? So I think bear markets are literally the time to buy. COVID, for instance, was the time to buy, but I mean, none of us kind of did that, or at least I didn't, because I was an idiot. Maybe we should have all been buying at COVID, but we didn't. Um, and I swear Bitcoin was like, what was Bitcoin at COVID? I swear it was like, I'm not imagining it. I swear it was like $3,000. I'm definitely not imagining that. I'm pretty sure it was pretty damn low. It's crazy, wasn't it? Hang on, where are we? Just like stop moving shit around. Look at that, so fucking loud. Oh my God, people. Can you imagine if we were like, oh yeah, COVID's happening. Let's just basically put all of our money in Bitcoin. Um, yeah, what was it? Yeah, it was like 4 grand, $4,000, man, and right up to $110,000. That's like, yeah, that's like way more than a 20x. It's like a 23x or something. I don't know. It's something crazy, right? Just put like 10 grand on it and buy yourself a house. I mean, yeah. Anyway, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it is what it is. My laptop's dying, so um, after 5 years, we watched a chart and we all say, um, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I mean, we have bull markets, we have bear markets. I think we're in a bull market. Once there's a bear market, I think, because what goes up must come down, right? Um, I think we will see like, something like 50, $60,000 Bitcoin or something, and people are going to be like, oh no, I want to wait for it to get to 30,000 or whatever. Um, if Bitcoin was getting to like 70, $60,000, I would be literally topping up at that point on buying Bitcoin. Even if it went to $30,000, you just DCA, right? Because the next bull market, 350, 500k Bitcoin, you never know, right? Um, yeah, that yellow line Sharky is basically where I bought Bitcoin, and then everyone told me not to buy it because I'm crazy, so I sold it because I bought Bitcoin at like $18,000, and I had like $1. And when I looked at it, when it was 100 grand, it was like $10, and I was like crying to myself. That's why you don't listen to other people. Always listen to yourself. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna end the stream there. Yeah, I know, right? I know. So was I, to be fair, because I got scared out of it. But I'm gonna end the stream there. I hope it was helpful. We're gonna just keep an eye out for this weekend, and well, for the next week, really. I think we need to watch. Um, plan is still the same. Nothing has changed. And obviously, if we break certain levels up or down, then I will obviously alert everyone, and we can get in on some trades. But at the moment, limit orders for Fetch, HBAR, and Sui are still open. I might consider Link, maybe Doge. We'll see. We'll see how it looks. But for now, I think that's probably it. Really appreciate everyone joining. I hope this was informative, and I will upload this onto YouTube as soon as possible. So as always, safe trading, careful of risk management, and have a good weekend, and peace out. See you later.